The last couple of videos were kind of tough, but we are through all the hard stuff now. We have our API keys set up. We have our cloud function set up. We're going to do one more function in this video where we basically just migrate our generate image to the server as well. Let's jump into our index.ts. And I'm just going to copy this function. But before I do, now that we know it's working, let's get rid of these extra logs. I don't think that we need them. And then I'm going to copy this function and paste one down here. I'll call this generate OpenAI. All right, we're again going to use the secrets API key. This time we're going to get from here, we need to get just a single message. So when we generate from our Swift code, we take an input. So let's go ahead and try to get an input. We'll call this from the input here. Let's make sure we have it. So we'll say if not input, let's throw invalid argument, no input provided in the request. Then we need to do another query, slightly different query. This time we're going to use the default model. We're going to have a prompt. We'll pass in the input, the n. So we're going to have again, so n is the number of images, the size, as well as the response format that we want. So here we're going to say n is one image. Size will be, I'll use the single quotes. Let's go 512 by 512. And let's do the response underscore format, which will be B64 JSON. Let's take our query and let's call openai.images.generate from the query. Okay, we're getting an error here that the query type should be image generate params. So make this of type openai.images.image generate params. Okay, I think that works. Maybe it was just a TypeScript error. Lastly, let's get the data from this. So rather than the chat, we'll get the B64 JSON. We'll set it equal to the response dot data. Let's see, here we had the response data, the first item, B64 JSON. Data, the first item dot B64 JSON. Make sure that we get it. So if not, we'll have a data loss and we'll say invalid response from OpenAI. And let's go ahead and return the JSON. All right, I think that might be all that we need. It was pretty quick, pretty easy. Let's go ahead and Command S to save it. Let's go into the terminal and let's just deploy all of our functions again. So let's go ahead and Firebase deploy. Let's run only the functions. This time it should deploy all three functions. The second function we changed, we removed the logs, and then the third one, we now just added a new function. Deploy complete. Let's jump back into Firebase. Let's go ahead and refresh it. We should now have a new function here, OpenAI image. Let's go ahead and view detailed usage stats. From here, we should be able to go back out to the function details. Let's go to the Cloud Runs Cloud Run console. Let's go ahead and update the OpenAI image with the permissions. Let's add principal and let's say all users, the invoke method and save, allow public access. And now let's jump into our Swift code base. Let's copy this code, move it up here. So we're going to get rid of, so we're going to trigger the HTTPS callable. Let's get the name of our new function, generate, Generate OpenAI image. Let's jump back to our Swift code, paste that in here. Remember, we wrote this one now with an input that is supposed to be a string. So in our code, this will be an input, and we'll pass in our input. Now the response should be data. So I believe we can just say guard let data equals response result dot data. Say data equals response dot data. as data maybe. So I think we are returning B64 JSON, which is the data type. And then I think we can just get an image from that. We can say, let image from data, which we already have, and return an image. Let's go ahead and Command R to build and run. I'm not sure if this is going to work on our first attempt. Hopefully it does. And let's try to generate an avatar to see if we can get a new image. Let's jump in here, create a new avatar. Bob. Bob will be a man smiling in the park. And survey says that it failed. That it failed. Let's put a breakpoint here. Let's try to generate one more time. If this breakpoint hits, we know that the function succeeded, but the data is not a data here. Okay, so this function succeeded, and we just have a problem in our code right here. And I think actually, if I look at the change, we actually said this was the JSON, and then this was the data. We should have just kept this. Sorry, guys. All right, I'm just going to keep that now. So this will be the B64 JSON will be the response.data as, I think comes through as a string. And then we'll say let data equals this, like we had it before. Let's go ahead and hide the change. Okay, I will delete the breakpoint, Control I to fix the spacing, Command R to build. All right, I think this might be it. And we just had to get the string, convert that into data, and then that into an image. All right, let's go to generate a profile image for Bob. Bob's a man smiling in the park. And dun, da, 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 there he is. Awesome. Our function is up. It's working. It's running. That is amazing. So now in our code, we do not need anything related to OpenAI in our code base. So what we're going to do now, just to wrap up this video, let's go ahead and delete all of this. We're going to delete our OpenAI instance here. Go into your keys file and delete the key from the keys file, literally so it's not even inside your project. You can delete the import of OpenAI here. Let's come down here and we can delete all of this code because it was related to our Swift package. We can delete all of this code as well. Delete this. Let's Command R to see if this compiles. It's compiling. Let's jump into our project now. And let's come down here and our OpenAI package, let's just remove it from the entire project. All right, that crashes Xcode 16. Don't ask me why. Let's reopen up Xcode. OpenAI should be gone. Let's go ahead and Command-Shift-K to clean and rebuild. And just to confirm what we have now done, right? We have now moved all of our API code onto the server. So we have these functions on the server, which now we can update totally asynchronously from our code. And these functions have the API key in the Firebase secrets. So our client app now has nothing related to OpenAI. We have a method called generate OpenAI text, but it actually doesn't have the API key. It doesn't interact with the OpenAI API directly. It just pings our function here. Then this function pings OpenAI and returns the response. So this is a much safer approach than keeping your API key in your bundle. And in theory, we can actually move basically all of our methods onto the server now that we have our Cloud Function set up. So just like we, write to the avatars or write to the chats, we can move any or all of that onto the server into server methods as well. Obviously, we don't have to do that, and we're not going to do that. The code that we have, the Firebase SDK, is super friendly and easy to use. But we did move these to the server because of that potential security risk. All right, let's wrap up this video by just committing it, Option Command C. Let's say feature, and we will say add, what's the new name of our function? Generate OpenAI image, and let's also remove OpenAI SPM. Stage it, commit it, push it up to GitHub, and last but not least, let's jump into our VS Code here, and let's save this, Command S. Let's open up the terminal. Let's git add anything that we missed. Let's git commit-m. Let's put a message that says add generate OpenAI image method. Finally, let's go ahead and git push to the origin, the main branch. Beautiful. And now you should be able to open up your GitHub. Just to ensure all that was working, you should be able to open up your GitHub and you'll see your package here with your most recent commit message. Awesome. That was a lot of work, and it was definitely difficult and stressful for those of you who have never written TypeScript, those of you who don't use the terminal too often. But I think if you are one of those people, this is probably a pretty good tutorial on how those things work. The terminal is definitely not as user-friendly as Xcode, but we ran into a couple errors. We debugged them together. So we addressed our potential security issues. Our app is good to go. Our cloud functions are running and accessible. And now we're good to move on to the next section of the course. That's it for this section. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.